Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
Do you know I was so angry, Kitty? When I saw all the mischief you had been doing, I was very nearly opening the window and putting you out into the snow. And you'd have deserved it, you little mischievous darling. I'm going to tell you all your faults, and you've not been punished for any of them yet. You know, I'm saving up all your punishments for Wednesday week. Suppose they had saved up all my punishments. What would they do at the end of the year? I should be sent to prison, I suppose, when the day came. Or, let me see. Suppose each punishment was to be going without a dinner. Then, when the miserable day came, I should have to go without 50 dinners at once. I'd far rather go without them than eat them.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a big fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men could never put Humpty together again. I've got a Humpty Dumpty heart. He dropped it and broke it apart. All the king's horses, all the king's men could never put it together again. 'Cause when I gave to you my heart, you said that we must part. That was my doom. My heart went boom. I got a Humpty Dumpty heart.
Imagine a person might live in a cave or above ground. Imagine a child begins life in daylight and horrible experience sends the child to live in darkness. Sometimes a child is like Humpty Dumpty when all the king's horses and men couldn't do the job. The child puts the broken pieces of the self back together again. Cobbled together, it is possible to leave the cave, but this is not an escape, it's a furlough. The self-cobbled Humpty hobbles back and forth between above and below like a nomad. At any moment, a rabbit hole to the cave appears, and falling into it is so very easy. The cave is where beliefs filter experience and provide comfort. Like a blanket that keeps out the cold, like a hug that says love and security, like chains in a dungeon. In the cave, beliefs tie down the meaning given to experience, and perverse judgments drive destructive actions. Experience for a cave dweller is obscured by shadows, cast by past horrors and projected by current events. Past and present combine to confirm darkness and constraint. Whenever Humpty ventures above ground, a shroud wraps Humpty's senses, causing reactions that miss the mark, mystifying anyone who is never shattered. A resilient Humpty experiences light and warmth of sunny times and recognizes pain of horrors in the shadows. In the light of day, lucky Humpty meets a kind person. The kind person might have healed from horror or might never have been in hell. The kind person shows the cave is an illusion, but Humpty is ambivalent and conflicted. The cave represents survival and suffering. The cave and above ground intermingle. In the light, Humpty gains perspective from each simple truth, each good moment, each loving action. Humpty remembers the old habitation of pain, feels compelled to rescue persons stuck in their own cave, and is fiercely resolved to reject false notions of the shroud. A person wrapped in the shroud views Humpty as ridiculous, taunts Humpty as defective, battles Humpty as dangerous. A resilient Humpty can spend a lifetime trekking to and fro between the above and below. Each trek passes through purgatory. Hopeful vision contrasts with discontent. Freedom from repetition requires acceptance that the cave cannot be rehabilitated. Shrouded beliefs are forsaken. Hell's torment is forgiven. Then, and only then, can memories serve reflection and not return. You have said that you broke apart like Humpty Dumpty, and you said that you put yourself back together but weren't good as new. Let's begin with what happened to break you. It took a while to break me. I was a defiant kid. I stood up for myself however I could. Early on, I rebelled by giving Mother lip. Actually, my mouth has gotten me into trouble throughout my life. When I was about 6, Mother shut my mouth with masking tape. I licked it so that I could part my lips and mumble under my breath. I wasn't licked. Mother tried to control me with a spanking, but she didn't want to hurt her hands, so she rolled up a newspaper. It was a joke, and she figured that out pretty quick. That's when she started to use Father as the enforcer. He had a track record of instilling fear in us, and Dad couldn't stand it when Mom screamed. He was clear. His goal was to please Mom, so he let me and the brothers have it. One day, he held little brother upside down by the ankles and threatened to drop him from the 2nd floor. It was terrifying to see him threaten younger brother. Sometime later, but around the same age, I gave Mom some lip again, and she unleashed Dad. He picked me up by the ankles and in a cold, steely voice threatened that he was bigger and more powerful than me. I was terrified for a little while, but some weeks or months later I spouted off again. Mother unleashed Father. He picked me up by the ankles and whipped my body against the bedroom furniture. Well, the cracks appeared, but I still didn't get it, that speaking up for myself was a big sin. A few years passed. I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I talked back to Mother. Thrashings from Father hadn't worked, so she stripped me to stand naked in the living room. It was in the afternoon. I had gotten home first from school. When my older brother walked in with his buddies, I was mortified. I snapped out of my paralysis and bolted into the powder room under the stairwell, wrapped myself in a towel, and sneaked upstairs to my room. I put my dignified humanity somewhere inside, but I was broken. What do you mean you put yourself back together? What happened was I took my experience. I held onto the truth of it by externalizing. Things around me were scary, and some of it I turned into parts of me were scary, angry, or horrible. I protected an image of my parents. They were only good. I had cobbled myself together, emulating good things from Mother and Father, erupting badly in desperation, soothing my shame and letting myself off the hook. After all, I wasn't as bad as they were. I had failed to see my own beliefs, choices, and habits were perpetuating the cycle. I knew I wasn't good enough because I took after Father and Mother, the good and the bad. I wasn't content with my good, and I was ashamed of my bad. Then I'd meet someone and put my best foot forward as anybody would. It took a long time for me to realize that a person's sense of the world is filtered by the parts that were put together to simulate a whole person. Often it is not clear what's being kept out by the filters versus experience that is let in. Experience which doesn't fit is forgotten, and holes in memory are filled in with creative storytelling. So the whole is not greater than the sum of the parts, not while experience is stitched together as Frankenstein did when he built the monster. When I met someone who also had put a best foot forward, there would be a reaction to me or her own inner torment. revealing parts from the experience that she had tried to reconcile. Humpty Dumpty put self together to make sense out of a fractured world, explored, excavated, own cave. There is no rest for the weary in dubious struggle. Peace formed in shared labors of love, playful creation of good. Freed by belief, we can imagine the impossible. Contentment found in simple, forgiving habit, which forms the wormhole named reality. Outside the window, morning light, mountain waves of haze, flashing memory down a rabbit hole. I am Alice, once put together. Every place, time, pass over, looking glass, illusion, delusion, over and over, again and again. Alice, now finally whole, chooses a little help from her friends. Alice, daydream voice, my own mother, who are you? Wormhole, time travel, Cinderella, here am I. Alice hears herself reply, I'm not Snow White. My eyes open now, gaze fixed for a moment in the rear view mirror, a looking glass, wormhole into the cave. A prince didn't wake me with a kiss, and I didn't put my lips on no frog. A smile turned up. Not that I didn't try that once. Off the perceived not sight block, round, merry-go-round. No seeking, searching, unwitting, repeating, same old pain familiar. Belief shed, well-worn comforter, coat of arms, family, half-truth shield. Gate unlocked, open, to be, leave, ghostly past, resting place in peace. Faith, full, fill, by now know, free, flow, between thee and me. Awakening, early morning light, day before, boss lady veiled, shame while work family meets, distorts, disfigures, this ain't true. When Alice is good, she's an angel. When she's not, she's horrid. Mommy ghost walks well-worn creek, reek, weak. I think not, my dear eye, out of rabbit's rabbit hole, away from looking glass, cracked gaze back. Time for morning, stretch, greet, daylight. Route 66, imagined, not real. Today, imagined, derailed. Coped okay, imagined, disapproved. Rabbit hole, to cave, imagined. Stayed real, self-care, shared. Alice, to know you, let go, forego, say no to the wormhole named desire. Alice, awake new each day true. I daily tend to who you are. 1. Self-care. 2. Buckle my shoe. 3. Prepare. 4. Open the door. 5. Aware. 6. Pick up sticks. 7. Build, repair. 8. Open heart gate. 9. R&R and share. 10. Start over again. Birds of a feather flock together. Pond hopping, happening upon ugly duckling experience. Off to the next. In midstream, 2 swans build a pond together. She could be he, or he could be she. Each can be Snow White or Prince Charming. Snow White is not wakened by Prince Charming. She awakened through her relationship with each dwarf. A dwarf is simply a little relationship. Little is not measured by time or intensity. It reflects an aspect of awareness. The experience brings one out from a fractured fairy tale. We arrive with a capacity to routinely occupy the here and now, mindful to nurture self, other, and the relationship. This is the beginning.